This episode of the Council of the First Ones was recorded on November 1st, 2020.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Council of the First Ones. I'm your host, Kelly, and joining me today is Shawn. How was Halloween by you?
It was all right. My son went as Batman, and we even heard sirens at one point, and he said, "They're coming for me, but it's not because I'm in trouble. They need my help." I was like, man, you were committed. And then my daughter dressed up as Raven from Teen Titans, who is like her absolute favorite superhero character right now. Nice. So it was pretty fun escorting them around, and I got a crunch bar out of it for escorting my children around the neighborhood that night. So I can't complain either. So yeah, how was yours?
I wish I had kids. I dressed up like Orko, had everything. Not one kid came around. In fact, all through Facebook, all my friends were like, "Why aren't these kids out? It's a beautiful day. It's a Halloween on a Saturday. Every kid's wish." But the curse of 2020 continues.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had the full Orko costume from when they sold the Orko sweatshirt with the hood and all like that, with black leggings, so it looked like I was floating. I had blue gloves on to hand out the candy.
Nice.
And I'm like, and I had my shoe where blended into my handrail, so I could throw the candy down as if it was magic.
Nice.
And I'm like, I went through all this and no one. I mean, my neighbors had candy tables set up all day. Nothing was taken.
Wow.
Well, yeah. A lot of
hopefully
people are
next
playing
year.
it safe.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, next year at least it's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, it's tricky because the virus I've been reading can stay on surfaces for 28 days.
Well, see, in Jersey, the governor had asked everyone to put them in bags. So everyone was getting the either Ziploc snack bags or the Chinese takeout little bags to put them in. So they were in a bag, in another bag, in another bag. But with the virus, it's like with all the candy in the store, this is the time that all teachers, we hit those sales to stock up on our candy that we give the kids all year.
Yeah.
It's like, do I buy it? Am I even going to go back to the classroom? Because they're talking now January, maybe February.
Yeah.
Remember the good old days when all we got, we had to worry about in our candy was to get razor blades in there. Now we have to worry about razor blades and the virus and
yeah,
people stuffing flyers for their favorite candidate in their kids' bags.
Well, yeah, that.
We're dressing the kids up as the candidate.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. That brings up a good thing, and I don't think we'll be out by that point. But vote, people, on Tuesday too. But not to get political, but yeah, voting is a good thing. But I don't know if we'll be up before that point. But it is what it is. Just throwing it out there.
Well, I never welcomed David to the show. And we're busy talking.
Yeah.
David hangs everything up on the West Coast.
Well, I tell you, we've got a lot to talk about, and this week has been incredibly busy. Certainly for me and my team of awesome moderators on the Facebook groups, especially the Origins fans group, we've been swamped with people just flooding into that group and sharing their, discussion about everything we're going to be talking about today.
I think the first thing, because I don't know about YouTube, but right before this recording, I was busy on YouTube watching one of our good friends of the council, Pixel Dan's unboxing of Snake Mountain.
Who was it wasn't it Shawn? Who was it that made the video where they're like, I'm gonna unbox Snake Mountain, but they unboxed a vintage Snake Mountain?
Oh, I didn't even see that one, but that's actually pretty funny.
I could have sworn that was you or yeah.
No, I didn't do that one actually,
knew.
but I have had people I know there was a thing early in the week where some of the people that were getting them, it's like every time something new hits, you always get that, and it doesn't have this and it doesn't have that and all of the negativity along with it. And the one thing they brought up, and a buddy of mine actually reached out to me the other day just to check, because he doesn't have a vintage Snake Mountain. He got the Super 7. He's like, does yours have latches on it? And I went downstairs to check. I'm like, yeah, mine has latches on it. He's like, Super 7. So that was one of the big things that I remember out of all of the reveals. It's like, oh yeah, there's no latches. So when you put it to, when you close it, there's no way to keep it together. It's just closed. So,
yeah, Dan did point that out today.
Okay, good.
Because he did a live unboxing of his Halloween trick that arrived.
Nice.
Well, thankfully, what we're not hearing is, oh, these parts are breaking, and the paint's only half there, and other things that we used to hear when Super 7 first started producing classics figures. They've learned a lot since then, but this is, I could never reiterate enough how important this project is for Super 7, how much of a success it is. This is the first playset that they've produced, and this is, one of the biggest toys ever made. And so, my hat's off to Brian Flynn and everybody at Super 7. Congratulations.
And hearing how it's been shipped is amazing, because it's a box within a box that has plastic tabs on all four corners. That box is then put into another bigger box with more plastic corners to make sure it ships as mint in box condition as possible.
That's awesome, actually.
It's above and
really
beyond.
Good.
Yeah.
So they went the extra mile. It weighs in at 49 pounds.
That's as much as my kid.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's as much as my 4-year-old right now.
It's like the stork arriving.
Yeah.
The box itself is 25 inches by 26 by 24 inches.
Oh.
So it's 2 by 2 by 2.
Wow.
That's huge.
With multiple boxes inside it.
That's impressive.
My wife joked with me and said that, when I bought it, she said, I was like, well, I don't know where we're going to put it. She said, yo, you can live in it when you're out on the streets after I kick you out.
Well, I honestly, with some of these collectors, I'm like, that's probably what you're going to have to do, that's why I didn't even bother. I just knew, number one, the price point, I just couldn't, even with a payment plan, I just couldn't justify that right now. And on top of that, if I would have brought that home, I have plenty of room in my basement, but I could just hear my wife going, yeah, you're living in this. Like, I'm getting proof that you were getting the money you spent out of this thing instead of it just sitting downstairs right now. So yeah, it would have been pretty much my studio apartment for the next year if I would have gotten it.
Well, it's very spacious.
It is, and I would have at least had a throne, so that would have been nice. And I would have all those faces that they carved in and sculpted into the mountainside to at least keep me company when I know my wife doesn't want to talk to me because I bought something ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm that guy.
It's like I look at it and I want to start customizing it, but not that it needs it because it's gorgeous, but I feel like I can't do anything to it because it's so expensive. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Last episode we talked, Origins Castle Grayskull, and that to me is like I don't customize, and I would go to town on that thing for the price
Yeah.
point. I wouldn't feel
Right.
even remotely bad about that. But when you're investing $600 to $700 on something, yeah, there's no way. The only thing that I'll allow to touch it is the air. You know,
Right.
That's
It's
about it.
It's like getting an expensive car and thinking, "Ooh, I want to paint it, a different color today."
Exactly.
No, of course
yeah.
you're not going to say that.
Yeah.
It's an expensive thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the detail work into it. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the best piece to end a 13-year run for classics.
Mm-hmm.
Well, out of the photos that you've been able to see, what to you would be, to both of you, would be the pluses and the negatives of what you've seen? Or is it, are you good to go across the board, or are you feeling like maybe they could have done a little something here or there or whatever, but more like nitpicks?
The only thing I see is when you close it and you're turning it around where you're seeing the big face on the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
The top, you're seeing the inside of the top of the mountain. There's nothing to cover it, so it does look a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You'll see the back of the trap door, the very top, and also there is no latches to keep it shut.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you have to leave it wide open because the one part of the bridge that goes over the waterfall locks the two pieces so they stay straight.
Okay.
So it's almost like you have to leave it open where it is at 42 inches in length, almost 4 feet. Because if you're closing it up, either you're going to always keep the side with the Filmation snake mountain facing out so you don't have those voids. So, yeah, I'm being a little nitpicky. They could have given us something to cover it up. But also what I have been seeing, when you do close it, the mic, you can't leave that piece in there. You have to take it out to close it flush. Otherwise, there is a gap.
Right.
It doesn't close completely.
Mm-hmm.
But those would be my only little minor complaints.
Okay.
I look at if you're looking at it opened on the inside, on the right side, there are several faces that you plug into the wall. And I kind of feel like that whole space is a little wasted. And that I really wish, and I would really like to put together like a little workspace for Triclops, that has like a chair that you could sit Faker in, that has some tools and stuff. But I'm okay. I understand the need for, aside from the latches, I understand the need for why it looks the way it does when it's closed, and the pillar, the wolf head doesn't, you need to remove it. Yeah, I get it, and I understand. I would hope that they would have designed it, and I don't have it myself, but I would hope that they would have designed the wolf head so that you could put, you could make it, you could put the electronics in yourself without having to drill any holes or anything, so that it can be customized and you can actually use it like you do with the vintage wolf head, to make the echoed voice.
I gotta give them props. I mean, I never had Snake Mountain when I was a kid, and after I got it when I was older, it really is like the vintage one to me is like, okay, it's kind of like it's all sizzle but no steak, because it's the outside is what matters, and then the inside there's not a whole lot that you really can do with it. And in this case, with how they designed it and all the designers that helped them with this, they knocked it out of the park to give it some interior fun. There's definitely things to do in the inside, and I'm really thinking that's great. The fact that they managed to pull it off, and the stuff that I'm hearing is mostly, in my opinion, it's not, oh, it shipped but it broke, or
Right.
it came to me, but it's not, the way that they pictured it or any of that kind of stuff. Like
or
some of the
missing parts.
Some of the classics figures that they first started doing after the Ultimates wave, you were getting that, Cyclops' visor doesn't turn, and then it turns out, well, now we got to send heads out to everybody and all that. And in this case, I feel like they really did stick the landing pretty nicely with the photos I've seen. So I really like it for that. I think the only thing, if I looked at it as I wish they could have done something, would have been like the snake and maybe the wolf head and stuff to maybe have some paint app to it. I mean, the original snake does have the yellow and little like stripes of yellow and yellow in the eyes. This one, here's just the plastic. There's no paint on it at all, no deco that I've seen. And I feel like that could have been a little, like, it would have only helped versus when you see it where there's no paint, it does have this unfinished feel to that part of it. But I mean, other than the latches, which I don't know. If I had one, I would be the one going, why am I going to latch it? It's meant to be displayed. It's not meant to be something where I'm going to take it to my buddy's house and we're going to have fun on a Saturday afternoon. So I can kind of
lift it.
Yeah, well, the lifting part and all that, yeah, I get it for that purpose. But other than that, it's like I can't really say too much that I've seen negative. I know there's people who are nitpicking it on Facebook and stuff, and that's their prerogative. But on the whole, it's like it definitely stuck the landing. And I feel for a company that had a rocky start, they definitely at the end between the William Scott collection and that, I think they got it to work. It's just that, Corona coming in and messing up with the world and the shipping and all that. I get it. People want their stuff. They want it now. But otherwise, I don't think they can say too much in a way of bad when it comes to what they get when they finally get it.
Well, and it's too bad that, they had classics and they learned from their mistakes in the early get-going, and now that they've shown us that they can produce beautiful, wonderful classics figures and play sets, Mattel took the rights away from them and said, no, we're going to make the toys now.
Yeah. I mean, there's enough room that they could have allowed Super 7 to continue doing the collector's line.
Yeah.
Right? Especially since there's such an outcry from us collectors saying, we're still willing to pay this. Let us have these.
Yeah.
Well, and the argument that Mattel has given is about the classics line, not, it's hard for both of them to live on the shelf. Well, classics wasn't on a shelf. Classics was direct mail. Super 7 was producing it. No reason why they could have. Mail. Right. So there's no reason why they could have had both going on. And, classic sleeping. And so it's not dead, but when it comes back in the form of the Masterverse line, are they going to go a different direction with it? And we have just one figure, a prototype of one figure Mossman that we've seen so far. My understanding anyway, and I could be wrong, is that these are going to be done in-house, not by the Four Horsemen.
That scares me a lot right now because my hang-ups, they're here nor there with Origins, but it's like the Horsemen were the ones to basically say let's start this new line of collector toys for collectors, for the adult collector market and all this, and them coming to Mattel and the whole synergy of, okay, Scott had the idea too, and they were on the same wavelength, and boom, here we got classics. It's like they were at the beginning of that, which re-energized fans loving this stuff because you didn't have a whole lot going on once 2000X was done, but they also doing the 2000X, they re-energized the line, in my opinion, based on the design work and the sculpting they were doing for that toy line. Because when we were kids, we would have never pictured those figures being even more, having crazier features and having all the details of the sculpts that they did and the individual sculpts and all that. And it's like not having them involved to me is like, so are you cutting the heart out of this at this point? Because they are the imagination, I feel, behind a lot of the good stuff that we've seen and that the fans enjoy. It's like they're synonymous with Masters just as much as they're synonymous with Mythic Legions at this point, to me,
Well, and the changes that we're seeing in the Origins line, and which it does, it's getting a lot of things right, don't get me wrong. But, when Mattel sets out to give us vintage figures with articulation that attempt to update the figures with some different head sculpts and different accessories and things, a lot of, there are quite a few decisions in the Origins line that I and many people don't agree with, including the redesigns to the Castle Grayskull playset. And so, I honestly really want some talents to come back in the form of Joe Amaro and the Four Horsemen to get to do this line right. I worry that, like a lot of people, that Masterverse is just going to miss the mark, and I hope that's not true.
Well, I mean, that was what was so special. We had fans involved in this,
right?
And the Four Horsemen are huge fans.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, on the artistic side with the paintings and the box art with Axel and Nate still working on that, we still have the fan influence, but I think it needs to run through the entire company.
Yeah.
Or at least the whole product line. Because if you don't have that passion and understanding, it actually shows. I mean, the Newcastle Grayskull, it shows that whoever designed it or approved the final design didn't know the property and the mythos.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing about this line with it having the okay, it's back, and then it goes into hiding for 10 years, sometimes even longer, and it's like we're at a point with our fan base where you can't keep doing that and expecting the fans to jump on it every time. A lot of us are getting into our, we're in our late 30s, early 40s, even older than that for some people. And it's like, we don't, it's like you can't be expecting to just keep hitting the same demographic like that and expect that to be the only way to keep this going. And I think, like you're saying, Origins, here's one caveat that I'll say about Origins that I didn't even think of until this week, and that is the international market. I had no thinking about anybody who's outside of the U.S., so I'm very sorry to any international listeners that now is the best time for somebody who couldn't deal with getting Origins because of not only the price point, but all of the fees involved to try to get these figures into their country and into their collections.
Right.
So it's like Origins is a really good way to, if you didn't get classics, you can at least get these and you can get your He-Man and Masters of the Universe fix. I can't fault it for that at all, especially with the price point. But, it's like there is a treat to be said about, okay, you're getting another 6-7 inch line again, and this is supposed to fill the void in our hearts of what classics was. That's awesome. We can get those to the international fans as well. But when you're doing something that might not even look as good as what we had, and these things are created by people who aren't the Four Horsemen, who we've had a ton of time trusting with this and enjoying their work and collecting their work, there is this like, like I'm scared more than I'm happy at this point. Like when they talked about it at PowerCon, they hedged their, well, we don't want to really say who's working yet. We're going to tell you later. I'm like, okay, it better be the Four Horsemen, though. You better have that name in there somewhere. Yeah. So it's a little scary.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And then, of course, there's the questions of like, will the parts be interchangeable with classics? Are they going to change up the articulation? Is the articulation going to look like Origins articulation in the knees? I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
That scares me too. Those knees are still. Oh my god!
Don't even get me started on the knees.
Yeah,
especially on the girls.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean,
the girls are harder to hide that problem with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I haven't even looked at Shira's knees because I did see on Facebook first appearances of Shira.
Yeah.
For the origin
of the majority of the spring wave. So Zodak, Shira, Merman, Roboto, those figures are showing up in the UK.
Yep.
It's a huge surprise. And, you know, this news came in an already busy week with Mattel, with Walmart opening up pre-orders again for Wave 2, and they're actually shipping those Wave 2 figures now. And then a lot of people...
After they canceled all of those Wave 2 figures?
I was going to say, for me anyways, I put in my order again for Wave 2 because I was worried about my initial pre-order, and that paid off because right after they sold out of the pre-orders, the new pre-orders, they canceled a lot of people's August pre-orders that they had put in for Wave 2, which makes no sense.
They've been batting 1,000 with everything they've been doing, not just with Origins, but other lines. Same problems have been happening, and unfortunately with Origins, it's Walmart exclusive because there's other people and other groups that I'm in where they're like, I'm bypassing Walmart, I'm just doing it through Amazon or through whoever, and we can't even do that with these figures yet.
Right.
Not yet. Amazon sent out a whole bunch of Wave 2 cancellations.
Right.
Already.
Yeah. Amazon and Walmart canceling orders. Not to mention the Masters of the WWE Universe Wave. What are they up to? 4 with Mr. T. A lot of those orders were canceled. Mine included. So it's confusing. It's like, okay, so we're seeing a lot of international, a lot of countries are getting Origins figures, Wave 2, Wave 3 now, but not the US for Wave 3. Wave 2, thank goodness, they're starting to ship them now. It is not to downplay how awesome it is that we're actually getting the Wave 2 figures, but it is interesting to see how many people are posting online about the Origins figures they're getting in the mail. Of course, some of them are being damaged. That's expected from Walmart. But some of the figures have the wrong packaging, so you'll get like Trap Jaw, but it'll say Man-at-Arms on it'll say like Manny Faces on the packaging, or Orko, and you'll get Orko and it'll say Scareglow on the pack, or the figure will come with 2 left hands. We're seeing some instances of that, or they won't even, they'll get their package and it'll say that that's supposed to be their like Orko and Scareglow, but instead they're going to get a package of underwear and some shampoo. They'll just throw in the wrong item and ship it to them.
At least we're getting down to the last few weeks that we have to deal with Walmart as the exclusive.
Thank goodness, yes.
I mean, if they're holding true to what we figure, November 15th is not that far away when it should be hitting all of the retail, because that would start, I believe, the next quarter or the first quarter of 2021 with all the Christmas sales. I mean, I've determined I'm not even going to look at Walmart anymore to try and get my Origins figures, because every time I go, the pegs are empty.
Sure.
Even though you've turned around, you've used all the different techniques, and supposedly it's in stock or in the back room, I figure I can wait a little bit longer, get them on Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Target.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I know that with my cancel Grayskull order, as soon as I can order it on Target or Big Bad Toy Store, I'll cancel my Walmart order. Yeah, I'm thoroughly done with Walmart. I as long as I have any other option to me, I'll gladly go with that other option. Aside from eBay, of course.
Wow. You mean Scalper City?
Right. Yeah, so
when it comes with my Shira, I'm going to be looking for a decent one on card and one that I'm going to have open. Because almost all my Shiras, I've had one mint on card, one open to play with.
Well, and a lot of people, quite a few people, I'll say, they're posting on the Origins fans group and in other groups, showing off that they've purchased like a dozen Scareglows, or in one person's case, they ordered looked like 3 dozen Scareglows.
And, the room full of Scareglows that glowed.
Right.
With the Walmart display in the middle filled with Scareglows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the parents' warning is caution. They breed like rabbits. So, oh man.
So that's still a problem. The hoarders, the scalpers.
I don't see them being as big of a problem in general lately. I think it's that figure. And again,
figure, yeah.
And that's what I made that joke, and it's funny that it's like, okay, I made the joke, but yeah, it's like if you go on eBay, $50 right off the bat for a Scareglow right now. It's like, yeah, and it's like for a cult character who showed up he was Mr. Johnny Come Lately, shows up at the end of the party in the original, in the vintage, basically. Man, did he got a following between then and now. It's like, wow, but he's just going to be one of those figures always. It seems like every line now, he's just become that figure now.
Well, between him and Disco Skeletor, I think they both have their own cult followings.
Yeah, I like Scareglow just a little better than Disco Skeletor, I won't lie. But I think he's a little more useful in a storyline instead of Skeletor just feeling a little like, I want to dress up for the night, and that's the end of that. So
yeah.
But it just amuses me. It's like if you on eBay, I was looking them up just this weekend out of curiosity, and it's like if you have just a complete Scareglow for classics, $200 to $250 right now, basically across the board. And it's like I said, $40 to $50 even for here he is on eBay for the Origins figure and stuff. That's I'm not going to call him Scareglow. He's just big money from now on. I'm just calling him Big Money.
Big Money. That's his official name now.
It's his official name, or Empty Wallet, depending on which way you want to look at it.
Well, did either of you get your Origins Wave 2 in the mail?
No.
No, not yet. No.
I was fortunate enough to get a Scareglow and Orko in the mail today, and very happy with them. I bought 2 Scareglows. I'll be sending the best one to a friend. The other one that I'll be keeping, the paint on the chest is way off. It looks really bad. So I'll actually be using that figure for a custom, and I think I have one more Scareglow coming. But yet, it's interesting that the figures seem to be shipping one at a time. At least that's what I've been seeing. Is you'll order like 4 figures, and then you'll get 4 different shipping notifications for them.
As long as they don't come with a side of meat or some freezer stuff, because I've seen people getting that with their figures.
I saw that. Yeah, somebody got like a steak or whatever, and I saw in the comments they were like, "Keep that man on card, buddy." And it's like, if it was my stuff, yeah, I'd be pissed too. But then at the same time, it's like when you see it happening, it's just like you put you face palm, and then you're just like, Yeah, it's that year. What else can we expect out of this?
Sure.
But yeah, no, it is good
if it came with toilet paper, that would be a really good thing then.
Well, it would be, but I don't think 2020 has it in for us in the good way that way. But I mean, heck, 2020 just attacked the collectors because it's like David said, you get the here's what's supposed to be Scare Glow, and in the bubble is Manny Faces. And right. That to me, it's like there's so for anybody who had complaints about Super 7, I'm like, are you keeping track of what Mattel's doing to the library now? I mean, they're not exactly knocking it out either. They're having their own QC problems right now. So
I'm wondering if they kept Digital River in the loop, because this is message that Digital River used to do.
I don't know, but it just the more I see of that kind of stuff, I still remember so many people when the first couple of waves came out from Super 7 and they were, screw this, screw that, blah blah, and they were ranting and raving, and it's like, yeah, but right now, it's like Mattel, for the most part, I trusted them with a lot of stuff, but it's like I feel like that generation is either gone or they've moved on to something else within the company. And now this new one, it's like, you guys keep a track? What's going on here?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to see, when people show off a picture of like all of Wave 1 and 2 and Wave 3 together. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's impressive. It's like we're getting there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Eventually everybody will have their toys. Certainly it is impressive the distribution internationally of these figures. Very, very nice. The audience is huge around the world for these toys, and for Masters of the Universe, this is doing great things for the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And for our collector community, and I appreciate that a lot. Starting, when Mattel said that starting January 1st next year, all the other stores are going to be carrying these, and they're going to be carrying both Wave 1 and Wave 2. They're basically starting from the first wave instead of skipping ahead, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. And this month, these next couple months, November and December, should be exciting with the PowerCon Origins exclusive, sets. Those should be shipping, both the Lords of Power and She-Ra Origins exclusive.
I mean, we're getting a first look with the Wave 3 She-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait, because anyone who bought She-Ra, we bought it on blind, not knowing what she was going to look like, where at least the Lords of Power, you had some idea.
Right.
And you got to see the box and all like that. With She-Ra, we only got to see a little teaser, the top of the box. We didn't get to see the full packaging. We didn't even get to see what she would look like.
What do you think of how she looks?
Well, I'm hoping that and I'm going by what I'm seeing with the Origins She-Ra, I hope they used the gold and did it a toned down gold. We do know that she's going to have the rooted hair. I'm scared with those knees.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They'll look
at
like
least the teaser showed us that it was going to be more on the vintage card with the pink, like it was in the girls' aisle.
Yeah.
Where the Origins is on the traditional red bursting rocks background.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. So, I like that.
So there are some differences to justify the $50 price tag.
Well, yeah, the exclusive version looks much better than the retail version, I believe.
Yeah, did the PowerCon version? It has like the face sculpt on it looks like they really tried to recreate the vintage face sculpt, from what I saw. Unless tell me if I'm wrong. And the other one, it feels like the mass retail one. It feels like it's here's a woman's face sculpt, but the other one really had that feeling of the vintage from what I saw.
And also with the retail version, the face is a little too small, or they made the crown way too big, because you do have a big gap. Because when the tiara goes over the face, the two holes should line up with her eyes, because it's supposed to be a mask.
Yeah.
And it's not lining up correctly in any of the pictures I've seen of it, even the ones that are loose. And the hair in the front is totally flat. There's no volume or to make that little, how would I even describe it? Because her double wave, I guess you'd say, that she always had. When you take off her tiara, at least the pictures I've seen, the hair sculpt is very flat in the front. Yes, it does have the nice little curls in the back. I will say that.
Right.
But the hair is missing something, and they could have done a little bit more. It's almost like, and other women will know this, bad hair day, or you don't feel like washing your hair and you just pull everything straight back. That's what it looks like when you take off her tiara. Yeah, I mean, I might be just a little picky because she's one of my favorite figures. I've always loved Adora / She-Ra.
Well,
I'm going to be a little more picky on that one than the others, because I've always wanted to see her in line with my vintage figures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's similar to, when they first started showing off Origins, and then we had a He-Man that we never knew because of his face sculpt and all that. And, it's like there was a lot of input on that one. So for the, being a She-Ra fan, it only makes sense, how did you, because when I saw it, I agree with David. It looked like it was for a younger child, and it felt like it was a collector's piece. And, I was like, all right, but there's elements of it I thought was okay and all that stuff, but I don't have the owning to the vintage or to the character quite the way that you might. And on top of that, the one thing I do like is I like they're bringing back the vintage look, the original figure look, since that doesn't get a whole lot of love compared to the Filmation version.
And I loved both versions, so it didn't matter to me on which way they went.
Mm-hmm.
Scareglow, Orko, Manny Faces, Trapjaw. It's wonderful that we're getting these figures. I wanted to mention that also we're going to be getting the Rattlesnake Masters of the WWE Universe ring playset that has Hulk Hogan in it. That's something else to look forward to, hopefully this month. And we're getting those mini multi-pack sets. I just picked mine up in the mail for the first set that was offered on Walmart's website.
Oh, the one in the Castle Grayskull?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's smaller than I thought it would be, but it's a cute little set. Yeah. I actually just grabbed it from my mailbag here. And I think people are having a lot of fun collecting those Eternia minifigures. I know certainly on Facebook they're a lot more popular than I thought they would be. Quite a few people on the Eternia minis fans group.
Oh yeah, minis are still really big because they don't take up that much space.
No pun intended. no, it's and on top of that, I think what is fun about them is it gives you a different look for a character that and it's almost like the tongue-in-cheek version of that character, because like He-Man's got that like gruff look on his face. Like he on that version, he would be the one where he's not listening to anybody and he's doing something stupid in the background. Like he's got that very like I'm big Smash Mountain kind of thing, like Hulk, or whatever. And some of the other like Scareglow or whatever, like in the original ones, he had that kind of like look on his face. It was like a weird twisted look on. So it's like, I almost like you're getting like a Funhouse mirror version of these characters that you like by having a personality into those designs.
Right. Well, and we have high expectations for like the Origins figures and the Masterverse figures, absolutely. But I feel like that's not going to be the case with these Eternia minifigures. This is where Mattel has room to, I feel like, has room to play around with the designs and whatnot.
Yeah. And the fact that we're getting vehicles down the line, it's like, at least they're thinking forward on this, and it's not just this, it'll be fun, like the kids will figure it out or whatever. There's definitely a little more thought, and that's the heart stuff that I was talking about too. It's like, who would have imagined there's going to be this tiny little road ripper to go with these things, and so, they got their heart in it there on that idea and their imagination going. So I'll give them props there, definitely.
Yeah. I'd like to see an actual full playset for the minis. It'd be fun to see what a minis grace. Aside from these, what we're getting, instead of packaging, instead of boxes, it'd be fun to get an actual minis playset for Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, and for them to go all out.
Might be.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if they're doing the vehicles, they're doing these. I can't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, if they're flying off the shelves.
Well, they're hard to keep in stock when I was in the Walmarts.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it makes me wonder, like, was it best for them to give us the letters on the bottom of the packaging? Because by having the letters there and making it an in-store exclusive, that makes it very easy for a scalper to walk in, look at the bottom of each little blind bag package or the little Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain, and to easily pick out the hard to find figure and then walk off with it.
Yeah, I wish that's the only thing that I have a problem with, because the big thing about the blind bag, you don't know what you're getting.
Normally.
Right.
Yeah.
And here you're finding out well in advance, I'm missing H. Oh, here's an H. Good, now I've got my signed Pit He-Man.
Ideally it would have been nice if these were offered online, and that you could buy a case of them and know that guaranteed each case is going to contain the full set of figures along with some extras.
Yeah.
That would have been ideal.
Well, Walmart's exclusive is coming to an end, and we know Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth, they normally sell the full case. I know Entertainment Earth does, because I used to get the Funko blind bag, My Little Ponies, and I'd buy it by the case, so I knew I had the whole set with a few extras that I wound up giving away.
Well, I just with those, at least I appreciated the fact that you weren't spending 3 to 4 times that price them, and like if you didn't know that the letters equated to what character, you could still buy that and just go, it was $5, and plus you're getting accessories with it and all that kind of stuff. Like when the Loyal Subject stuff came out, I was doing like a feverish run to Walmart every night to see if they had them and all this when they first came out. And you're spending $15 to $20 for those, and like good luck hoping that you get the one that you want, unless you buy the big, you buy the whole box of them right there. And so from that perspective, I feel Mattel maybe learned a thing or two about how that went. And the thing is, that price point to me, it's like, if I saw them, I'd probably buy them just for the fact that, hey, let's see what I get this time. If I didn't know the numbers and the letters on and all that stuff, at least it makes it a little more fun of a collectible versus. You mean I got to spend almost like $20 to just see what's in this one box? From back then.
Well, that's what turned me off from getting the Loyal Subjects.
Yeah.
Minis. It was the price, and not knowing that And whenever I'd find them, half the boxes were open already.
Yeah.
Someone sat there and ripped open the boxes and picked and choose.
Yeah, I think this works nicely. I think the actual size of the figure, like we were saying, it doesn't take up a huge amount of space. It's a collectible thing. You have the whole thing, and it only maybe takes up the bottom of a shelf to line them all up, and here they are all displayed or whatever. And I like the fun of, here's a tiny little vehicle for these guys. Now that's kind of fun, like
it's awesome.
I mean, how often do we get things like that anymore in the actual retail, the way that's set up? So there is like an endearing, oh, that's so cute, little Road Ripper. Oh, look, little. I mean, for me, that's there is like there's a pull to that compared to Loyal Subjects with how they did it or whatever. And so it's like they're hitting some nice little notes with this one for me. So,
well, one thing I'll mention first. I want to say that I just opened the Castle. The Castle Grayskull mini multi-pack. It is so cute. Like it's smaller again than I thought it would be. It's like a little book. It is adorable. I'm looking, I'm like, okay, aside from the really cool box that it comes in, I already have Man-at-Arms, I already have Buzz-Off, I already have He-Man. It comes with that exclusive orange, mini comic Ram Man figure. And I'm thinking, okay, so that's 3 figures that I already have. I don't need them. And then I'm looking at the mini vehicles coming up, and the package for each one. One of them comes with another He-Man, and one comes with another Skeletor. And I'm thinking, okay, I already have Skeletor and He-Man. I just bought them again, with these multi-packs. Now I'm gonna have to buy them again. Like, could it hurt for them to just give them different color schemes, even if they were slightly different? Or maybe give them, the Toys R Us variant colors, something, so that we don't feel like we're just tossing money down the drain.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah.
Were they going to do a Disco Skeletor for this one? I can't remember. Am I getting my Loyal Subjects messed up?
In Wave 2, there is a Disco Skeletor.
All right,
I think he's letter B.
Yeah, he's black. Here he's called Gold Armor Skeletor, and he's the rare in the second series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were shown what's coming up with Eternia minis at PowerCon. Aside from the really cool vehicles, we were shown. It says here, Wave 3 is the slime pit theme. So the boxes look like little slime pits, which is really cool.
Right.
And then Wave 4, the theme is Anti-Eternia. The figures that we were shown include Battle Armor Skeletor, Battle Armor He-Man, Zodak, and he's looking like he's got the white gloves. So there's that Zodak with a C. And Teela, who we haven't seen a sculpt of Teela before, so that's cool. Clawful, and Anti-Eternia He-Man and Anti-Eternia Man-at-Arms. So they both have the black and red, color scheme to them. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm okay with the color, the character selection. I don't know that we need 2 Anti-Eternia, variants, but otherwise it's okay.
When did maybe I'm slow here? When did Man-at-Arms being an Anti-Eternia character become a thing until these polls that they just put out for the Origins? Because he's not somebody like Anti-Eternia He-Man. Yeah, I could see that. And then the only character that I could think of when I thought of like the Multiverse comic would have been Anti-Eternia Teela. She kind of had a little more screen time than any of the other characters necessarily. And I mean, she definitely had some of the more, okay, she admitted they ate Zor. Holy crap. She had some moments, and it's like, all of a sudden Man-at-Arms is taking, it's a little odd to me that he's that character that they're trying to push out there with Anti-Eternia He-Man now that that's a thing. And
right,
like, okay, I'm not one way or the other, but I'm noticing that a lot, and it's odd.
It is. And I don't know, maybe they figure he would make a good army builder because he kind of looks like an evil palace guard or something.
Yeah,
that's my only guess.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get I can't wait for them to include some Horde troopers, because we in the original mini set, they have the mold. They were going to release a She-Ra and Horde trooper set that you can find on, I don't know how it happened, but that set was released unofficially overseas, and so you can find it on eBay. But that would be cool to have an army builder.
Manufactured. They were already producing them when Mattel canceled, so the manufacturer just sold off what they had.
Oh, I see.
That's why all of them are coming from China that were made.
Interesting. It'll be crazy when we start getting army builders in Origins. I can't wait for that. And they've been certainly teasing on their packaging artwork. Horde troopers, palace guards. I think there was some more evil army builders on the Castle Grayskull packaging. Some kind of evil pilots or evil demons.
The skeletal warriors.
Yeah.
They're coming out of the ground. Those are the ones, if they make those, I'm grabbing as many as I can of those, because those are going to be fun. I loved in 2000X, I loved the episodes with Triclops making those bone warriors.
Yeah.
And having them as they regenerate, and they just keep coming, and there's no stopping them and all. And so like that would be almost, if they did those, especially looking like they did on the box art, oh yeah, they're going to be on the shelf, and they're going to, any little space of anything I have on my Skeletor side of my shelves, they're going to be in there as like, yeah, he's got an army, we're doing this. And it's like, it'll work nicely. But the other stuff, it's like, that's cool, but I really want something as an army builder that I haven't seen yet in that way. Like that to me is like, that would be such a good Skeletor thing,
Yeah.
Yep.
I want some Skelecons.
I love them too. Bring those on as well. I wish I had more in my classics collection. I lucked out and got 2, and I really wish I had 5. So yeah.
I wanted to mention a couple of things. I wanted to mention that Fans of Power podcast is back, and thanks again, Joe Amato, for visiting our show.
Yeah, he did great. Yeah. He didn't even use a bad word. We didn't bleep him. It's crazy.
I know. I've known Joe for years. That was the first time we did not have to use sound effects.
Well, good, Joe. Well done. Well done.
He's getting better.
Most men can't be said. Like most men let it slide in their older age. He's like the fine wine. He's getting better. So there you go.
And I also wanted to mention that recently there have been some polls on Facebook. One of them is a set that I started, Castle Grayskull, and it's pretty clear from the results that people definitely prefer, for the most part, the vintage Castle Grayskull design over the changes that were made in the Origins Castle Grayskull playset. So looking at the results, the spacesuit, people are saying that definitely should have been included in the Origins Castle. They definitely prefer the Origins throne to the vintage one. They're saying that the triangle weapon rack should have been included in the Origins, the new castle. The majority of people who voted are either undecided, or they're saying that no, they don't like the white flecks of paint that are decorating the front and inside of the Origins castle. and they're definitely preferring the vintage castle's eyes and nose over the design of the Origins castle. They also prefer the vintage castle's dome, the top of the front of the castle, and they prefer the vintage laser cannon and the vintage door for the castle. They prefer that over the new design, and I think that was it for that set. Oh, that's right, the weapon rack. They definitely prefer, and again, these were conducted mostly on the Origins fans group, but I shared them around. The vintage weapon rack they definitely prefer compared with the Origins one, and they overwhelmingly prefer the vintage dungeon sticker to the Origins version. And same with the flag. They overwhelmingly want the vintage flag design, not the Origins flag design. And the elevator, not surprising that people are saying they like them both equally. And people do like the Origins ladder in the castle better than the vintage one. When asked what items people would like to see in a Castle Grayskull add-on accessory pack, the top votes went to the spacesuit, the Spirit of Castle Grayskull from the mini comics, the triangle weapon rack, the playmat from the vintage prototype, the shield and pistol from the vintage weapon rack, and the orb of power and display from the classics castle. So, and then there was one additional poll, I believe that was from the Legends of Power podcast. Shawn, do you want to talk about that one?
Legends of Grayskull. Yeah, my co-host Matthew Deutsch put up 4 days ago. He did a poll and reached a bunch of people. David, actually, thanks for sharing it and getting it out there even to a wider base.
Sure.
He posted the classics Grayskull, vintage Grayskull, 2000X, and Origins. And on our page for the people that voted, it's basically, they blew it out of the water. 38 votes for classics and 12 votes for vintage, and then nothing else.
Really?
2000X and Origins did not get a vote on our page at all. So classics still is quite loved and looked at as definitely an ultimate version of what we know and love as Castle Grayskull for a lot of fans.
Classics and vintage, yeah.
And those two are my favorites personally, even though I don't have classics, but I do have vintage, and classics is definitely a grail if I can get that one finally. So I can see why. Every time I see the images or anything, if somebody shares something of that, it's like, I'm that kid looking in the window at Thanksgiving dinner going, God, I want that so bad.
Nice.
Well, now you'll be drooling over Snake Mountain too.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't grow up with it, so part of my thing about it is the nostalgia angle, and that was the biggest Christmas present I ever got when I was a kid in my single-digit years. So that for me is like, if I can get that for me, it pulls the whole collection together, Right. And Snake Mountain, I didn't have the owning to it as a kid, and I had the Fright Zone. I had that in Castle Grayskull, and even if they did a Classics Fright Zone, I wouldn't even care about that. I would just want Grayskull because the Classics line to me just kind of, it's summed up with that, and don't get me wrong. If somebody goes, hey, I got an extra Snake Mountain, you want it? Yeah, like I'm going to say no, but at this point, I'm very much like, if I could just pull off Grayskull, especially with the price points I'm dealing with for these things, that would be amazing. So
right. Someday.
It'll be one that I hope I can at least, enjoy it before I'm in the nursing home and talking to some nurse calling her mama. That's all I ask, like if I can pull that off in my adulthood before I hit like 70, I'll be thrilled right about now. And plus, by the time I'm 70, people are going to be retiring off that piece alone. So,
well, maybe in the Masterverse line, they'll eventually re-release the Classics Castle.
I hope so. And you're a good person for putting that out there. And I hope Mattel hears that. Mattel, I'm okay with this idea. Please don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think it's great. So yeah.
But then what do they do for Snake Mountain? Because they can't use the Super 7 one. No way.
Well, I don't know. I'm not worrying about that. I'm worrying about my problem.
Yeah.
That's Mattel's problem.
And they should have the tooling still for Castle Grayskull.
Yeah. And
hopefully.
That is
I mean, it's in their tooling bank.
It is, and it's something that is a little confusing. If with the Origins, you would think they would want to revisit that and say, hey, we're saving money doing this, and it's still a good sculpt, but
well, maybe
it's a big size difference,
right? Maybe they saved it for Masterverse, and that's why we got the smaller playset, or at least one of the contributing factors.
I hope so, and if that happens, if I see you at PowerCon, I'm gonna hug you.
Social distance, man. 6 feet. 6 feet.
You just made my dream come true.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it 2021 could be very bright. It absolutely could be.
Especially with the cartoons hitting finally.
Exactly. And hopefully the live action movie too. It could be the year for Motu, like this one was supposed to be.
I'd like to thank you for joining us on this episode of Council of First Names. Stay up to the minute with all your He-Man and Masters of the Universe news by checking out He-Man.org. Also, checking out Nerds on the Couch on Facebook. Until next time, good journey.
And this is David Clark, owner of AdultCollector.org, a network of pages and groups celebrating everything we love about He-Man and She-Ra. Please follow AdultCollector.org and those pages and groups for all of your He-Man and She-Ra news and discussion, including the 16,000 Origins fans group.
And this is Shawn Scavarna, and if you want to get into the history, mystery, magic, and mythology, I actually got that right, of He-Man, She-Ra, and everything else Masters, feel free to jump on over. My co-host Matthew Duch and I have Legends of Grayskull, where we talk about the stories and the mini comics and the TV shows and the movies and everything else Masters related. And other than that, thanks for having me again. Until next time, good journey, guys.